Welcome to Sleeping Dog Video. I am back doing 3D printing projects, and I wanted to today is the setup of the installation of my EIBOS heating unit that is a replacement for the top of my Bamboo Labs AMS version 1 feeding unit for 4 filaments. And this is the this is the upgrade dryer unit by EIBOS. I'm going to do this one first, which is the upgrading my AMS unit before I try to figure out the filter unit and everything. So I'm going to show you the quick unboxing again. This is the booklet. This is the power cord. I'm doing it quickly because I already showed you it once, so you don't have to sit through a lot of it again. But these are screws, and then this is some piece. I don't know where that goes. I gotta read the manual, so I'll probably stop, read the manual, and then a second later for you guys, I'll be back to start the installation. And so these are all the little bracket pieces. So they're brackets. It looks like bracket standoffs. So I think maybe the standoffs. So now I can take all these out of here. And then, let's see, these look like individual dividers. Is that correct? And then I don't know if anybody actually done this before, this upgrade. So I might be one of the first to do the upgrade. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, so it must be, and they're labeled. So it must be acrylic front, Baffy, however you pronounce it. Let me put you up here and see if you can, if it, and then, so that's B, acrylic front, Baffy B, and then there's A, and then there's C, there's A, and then somehow there's 2 B's. So that's B1 and B2, I guess. And then, so there's 2 of those. And I'll open this up, because in my other review was a quick one, and but I didn't actually open a lot of this up. So now I'm opening up. So this is one bracket. This is a different type bracket with screws and stuff in it. And then, so I can take these out. I got some pretty good desk space. So you can see me opening these up. And then these are just more, they're all the same bracket, so I don't have to show you each one. So there's 4 for the 4 slots. And I explained in my other video, so I'll try my best not to go into it again, but I don't guarantee anything. So take that as you will. What I like and dislike about this unit, if it works. Here's some other parts. These are, and I don't want to get them too confused. So these are little, looks like little arrow units, so you know where they go into, which slots. So one, there's two. There's only two in here. Let me see if I can show you. See little arrow units. And then there are, it looks like also, these must be caps that go on the arrows. So it must go, I don't know if they go like this. Yeah, if they go in like, I don't know if they do that or this is cap for something else, some other part. As I said, I haven't read the instructions yet. And keep in mind, this will probably, most likely, be a long video. So make sure you keep that in mind. But for anyone that hasn't done it before, I think some of you appreciate. I know I had one comment that did appreciate, even though my videos are longer, and explained everything. So even though my videos are longer than a lot of other people's, they are, I think, pretty darn thorough on what a newbie would have to go through. Not what an expert goes through, but what a newbie goes through. A lot of videos out there, they are great, and don't get me wrong, love watching all of them, but they go a little fast and they don't tell you the things that I try to tell from a newbie standpoint, even though I don't consider myself 100% newbie. There's three. Those are dividers. They look like dividers. And then these look like little pieces because they have stickum on the back. So little pieces for standoffs. They feel like rubber. So this is a little piece of cardboard. And so out of this is just more cardboard. Or no, styrofoam. Sorry, not cardboard. And you can see I'm putting you more back over here. And then this is the, again, the control units. And so, again, as I said, if it all works and I get it set up in a minimal amount of time, at least for me, it will. Oh, and a nice screwdriver. And they didn't have to give me this good of a screwdriver. I don't know if I can interchange the tips on them. But because this, I was thinking because this looks like an Allen screw right there where my thumb is. So that's why I was thinking whether I could interchange tips, whether there's a reversible tip there. This is another part of the control unit, ABCD. So, and again, this unit is supposed to be able to dry, which is an advantage over buying the 2 unit. So the version 2 for the X1C and the newer units, it is, and then here's this, and is yeah, so the X1C, the loading, people say is faster, and they didn't like how slow the loading is. That really didn't bother me too much, because I'm not yet into trying to get things on Amazon and printing like a banshee that way. I'm doing prototyping at the moment. So I just got my, before I went to Monterey, I just had a few weeks of printing with my Elegoo Centauri Carbon. So if you watch those videos, so I don't mind. I didn't mind the loading, and I didn't think that it misloaded maybe twice, this unit, in all the time that I've been using it. And I've been using it a lot since and I said that a little loud, that since I got my X1 Carbon printer, which I absolutely love. I have to tell you that. A little expensive, but I absolutely love it. This is somehow I have to remove screws and take the cover off here, and this is going to sit like this and replace the rounded cover. So it's going to sit something like that, and either this way or it fits this way, because I know you have to lift it up in order to get, this looks like it has fans in it. So this is the power supply fan unit. So I think all these go into, I guess all these plug, let me put you down a tiny bit. Plug, I guess all these, I got to see which one's A, B, C, and D. But it plugs in something like this. I think. Doesn't seem to want to go in, but I think it all plugs in there. I don't know if there's a reverse direction, or maybe the unit's down here and it's like this, and it goes like this. I don't like to force anything. That's why if it doesn't go in fairly easily, maybe a snug fit, but fairly easily, find out if you're doing something wrong. Because the worst thing you can do is break something and then be out either having to get a whole new one or getting it repaired or waiting the time it takes to do that. It's better just to go slowly on this point. If you're good and can go fast, great for you. But again, I just want to iterate that I like to take things slowly. I may put you on pause if I don't get it right and see what I'm doing wrong. Because normally, like these power supply plugs, just go in snugly but pretty easily. This seemed to not want to do that. So I'm deciding whether, first, I haven't looked at the manual yet. And two, I don't want to force anything if I'm not putting it in correctly. So, because that doesn't seem like it's all the way in. And you can see, I'll put it up here. That's the hole. And then these are the connectors. And you would think it would just plug in here and that's all, right? But let's see. And maybe once I understand how one goes in, then the others are going to be fairly easy. Sometimes it takes me a long time if it's a tight fit, meaning screw-wise, or get your hands in a small area. it'll take me a lot longer. It took me a lot longer before I had my eyes done because of the contrast between a dark black screw and a black case like this, and figuring out in the holes or finding a screwdriver or screw that dropped on the ground, and finding that for a while until I got my eyes done, and not from cataracts, from something called pterygium. And it it took me like an hour to find just a screw on the ground. Now I can see quite a bit better, knock on wood, that continues to be that way. And better, because I'm also a tennis coach as my actual profession at the moment. I'm trying to make maybe this as my actual profession, either video taping my projects or building stuff and selling it. Because until I got a really good the X1 carbon, I was trying to get and jerry-rig other printers working, as I said on other videos, and I couldn't get it working, so I couldn't take my ideas and actually build something. Yeah, so I will. Okay, now I'm back, and I think this one, number A, which is on the, they label it the X1C Bamboo Labs as 1, 2, 3, 4, but this is labeled A, B, C, D. And you can see here, this is also the back of the unit, and this plugged in like it's supposed to, except this was a little tight and wouldn't go all the way down like it's supposed to. Then this one went down, this one went down, and this one a tiny bit of an issue but went down. This one I finally, I think, got it down correctly. Enough. We'll wait and see if it works or not. So that was my issue for this part. So now I have this part, and then as I'm seeing, this unit here, right here, goes underneath. If I take this out for a second, goes underneath here in the back. And then this is if I don't spill everything, this is going to, these little things, make sure there were tape. So I don't know if you can see it or not. But there's little plug type things that slide in and out of a metal connector. So those go in like that. Make sure they're still on either end. That's part of the hinge mechanism. That, I don't know, these might be just plugs. No, they must, if there's a metal connector, I'll show you, take this off. Let me see where I am. Right there, can you see the connector right there? You can see the metal connector. And then, so this goes on, so I'm thinking the metal connector must have something to do with this. Something plugs into here. Or a cap. Or a cap, maybe it's just a cap, and then I plug something into here later on. So I'm gonna probably, so that was for me step one. There are back here small connectors back here, A, B, C, D, for the unit to go from, I believe, these to the back unit here. So far it doesn't seem overly complicated, but I'm just getting started. You take the everything off of these, and I'm going to pull these off because they're about coming, or not coming off. I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. But I like pulling these off and then just being careful with the unit. So I like to pull those off. Some people like to do it last. Some people like to even leave it on. So I like to take it off, but I don't want to scratch things. But I'm usually pretty careful. So this is another place where I am getting out all the cables that come with it. So I'm going to show you, that's why it also takes longer than it maybe would take me, is I would like to show you all this first. And as I go through it, because I think it's interesting, plus it may help in the putting together. Now all these, I have to see where you plug it in, each one. These, I'm thinking, I don't want to break anything again, but I wonder if these units, maybe these units don't actually swivel a little bit. They look like, from here, they look like they would maybe swivel a little bit. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I do have to figure out where you plug it in, because here is my cables, USB-C to USB-C, USB-C to USB-C cables. And then it shows you which one, they're labeled. So it shows you which one and probably which way to plug these in. So let's see, there's two plug-ins. So there's one on this end, and then there's a short one and a long one on this end. So that's the long piece, and this is the short piece, and this is this. Let's see what it says on here. Okay, it says screen, so I'm assuming then that means it goes to the screen, and which is this unit, which would be the screen. So there, excuse me, there must be a connector here, USB-C, on each one of these. So I just have to find out where it is. Oh, looks like it's underneath. Can you see? Let's see. I'll do the best I can. But somewhere underneath there, there's a connector. So I think that's the connector. I want to gently but firmly. Okay, so they rotate. But I'm so glad I did it gently and firmly and not just yanked at it, because I wanted to go fast. So, and it's fairly stiff, so it holds in place. So you can have them sitting like that. You can have them sitting flat like they are. If it's supposed to be the screens like this, I think this goes underneath, from the diagrams, goes underneath this unit and it might or might not screws to screw it in. And then these units then have to rotate in order for you to see the display. So on the back, now you can see, I think, the back. I'm getting used to in my videos how to show you. I think let me see. Right where my finger is, right here, is where the connector is. And I'll do it different angles, so maybe the light will shine off of it, so you can see where the connector is. But I am going to maybe put something like if it goes on the back side or the front side. Let me show you the manual. See, this is a picture of the manual. You can probably ask ChatGPT or Gemini to look it up online, the manual. Sometimes if you are thinking about getting it, or if you ordered one and it hasn't arrived yet, get the manual and read through it first. I didn't think of doing that on this one, but it reminded me that I like to do that first, and then find out how to put it together and then have a head start. Plus, it's just fun to figure out what all the settings and everything are, to be excited for when you get yours. So this, see how these are now angled, and you see how this is underneath. This is the base of the AMS unit. So this plate goes somehow underneath here, whether it has stickum pads that it just rests, this rests on top of it, whether this screws down to this plate, because there's a lot of, let me show you. There's a lot of, like here, here and on the back, there's a lot of holes and stuff. Maybe that's for different standoffs. Some of these, maybe some of these go in certain holes, like something like so, and then adds to the standoffs. So I have to read to the next section. But so I am going a little slow to show you everything. And I think that's about it for now. I got to go on to the next segment before I read the manual. The Allen screwdriver. This is an Allen. It's a 2.0 millimeter. And man, I bet other Allen pieces or something go in the bottom because there's an opening in it. So I wonder, this is made out of a nice aluminum or some type metal, and this is really, you know, you don't get this quality of a Allen screw. You get those other Allen wrenches, and those, some of them are pretty good. Some of them are, yeah, okay, that do the job, but you don't get something this quality. So that's, I gotta say, hats off to EIBOS. There's the company, EIBOS, for including such a well-made product. So I have to say that, and I have to say, since this has an Allen key here, that I'm assuming this then will come out. I could try it, but this come out and then place another tip in. So I wonder if I could, I would be willing, reasonable cost, but I'd be willing to buy a whole set of these. So if they sell them. So I don't know if EIBOS, will have to go on their website, see if they sell set of these, because that's really nice. It's really long. I'll have to see how well it inserts, but you can see the tip and everything. If I can focus right, I'm trying to use the technique from other reviewers, but it's really nice quality. So that's what I wanted to say for that part. Now the next, I could stand it like that, but then the next part, these are all the different parts that came with, showing you all the screws. Take the tape off. Let's see what the next part is. Step one. Step one is to take the screws out so we can take the top off. Yeah, so it looks like that's the top of the old unit. And then that's the bottom. And then the Allen to get the screws from underneath. So I'll have to look and see how to do that. And then you're starting to put the top on. And then you want to put the screws back in, either the new screws or the old screws. I haven't figured that out on whether which one you put in. And then you have these. It looks like standoffs or something on the underneath. This looks like it's flipped over on its top. And then this is to access some of the wires from down below. So that's step 4. Step 5 is screwing in down below this part, which I already did. This part down here, which I already connected to here. I might need to unconnect it and then plug it back in. And then, so you put the front piece and the back piece while it's flipped over. And then you do step 6 is, I think, running the cables. And then step 7 is plugging these cables in. So one is running these cables, one's running these cables. So one's running these cables around, and then the other is running the other cables that I already plugged in to try it around. And then step 9 is adding the dividers, if you can see. Step 10, yes, adding some of the dividers. And then step 10 is showing additional dividers here. These and these look the same to me. That looks like just a closer up version of these. And then, but these are different dividers. Those look like they go in the back. And then you can see now the top. And then step 11 is, so those are already inserted from this step. Step 11 is placing the triangle pieces. Now the only thing about this, it's pretty self-explanatory, but they don't have a lot of words to tell you what to do. So like on other manuals, it's a bunch of pictures which you may like or you may not like on the manual side. But then step 13, But good pictures though. Step 13, so whatever these are, I'll have to look at all the parts that came and match up each step as I go. Step 14 is when these are at the back. Now you're looking at the front of the unit here and here. And then this is the side front. And then you have all these, which is the back of the unit. And those are showing that those wrap around to here. And then you have some instructions to show you the screen. So whether this video or the next one, I'll do the screen part to show you those. This is just a putting together video. And then you have that, and then you have this and this, the operation. So this is the operation part. Okay, so let's go back. And I guess I have to flip everything over. So I'm going to unplug this again. So it doesn't look like you have to do a lot to put this together. Like you don't have to do a lot of dismantling of this. Like the motors stay in place. Most of this looks like it stays in place. You know, just a few adapters and standoffs. And then wiring the wires, which doesn't seem that complicated. So what I want to do is, if I flip this over, okay, now see if you can see that. I think so. And then, let me see where the, okay, I'm trying to figure out where if it was a live stream, they would tell me where the screws are. First time, I told myself I wasn't going to fiddle and do any of the 3D printed upgrades where it makes it bigger so you can make 2 or 3 kilogram spools with this, or oversized 1 kilogram spools to fit in here. I decided I would keep it as is until I saw how much I needed filament drying, and to have this unit neatly integrated into this unit. I might have even bought one already put together, but nobody offers it yet. So I'm hoping, I suggested to EIBOS to, you have half of it done already, as you see. So to make the other half, you just need a little control board and the okay from Elegoo to allow them to borrow, if you need to borrow firmware. This is what I told EIBOS, borrow firmware, but integrated, but you have half of it designed already. Why not just think about designing the rest of it and having a complete unit that if they want to do partially put together, they could do that. I would prefer if it was totally put together, these two units together for the Elegoo Centauri carbon. And then that would be really great in having that unit, since I heard talking to someone on one of the forums, and I assume they were from Elegoo. They have appeared official in the post. It was on Reddit, I think, under the Elegoo forum. And they said they were going to make a AMS unit, and then they decided that they would hold off for now in doing the AMS unit. So that means that who knows when they will actually do one. That's why I suggested to EIBOS that this seemed like such a great unit that if they just incorporated it and did the programming to interface with Elegoo and Elegoo's firmware, get the rights to do that, which I don't think is a problem, because the reviews I have watched on other Elegoo on their resin printers, I have, and I'll get back to finding the screws. It seems like they're really a young company that's working there. I don't know if the head of the company is a older guy, but like the people building the units are like in their 20s or early 30s, and seem that young. And so it seems like they would be maybe all for it, where other companies wouldn't want to give the rights to it, their software. And I don't know how much only you guys that do the programming know how much software they would have to tap into to get this unit basically to work with the Elegoo. So let me see. I'm going to come back and get a flashlight just to add a little more light on the subject, and so I can see where the screws are. So I found out, I take this out, not cranking my tubing. I found out the screws are right here, this one and this one. And then the same probably for over here, this one and this one. It's nice also that this screw driver seems to be magnetic, and it helps you pull the screws out. Since you needed, I remember reading somewhere that you needed I have to see fit the right one, but seeing that you need a long screwdriver, what I was saying. I put on my trusty, you can't see, but my trusty headlamp so I could get down here and line up my screwdriver to the hole. Once you do that, it's pretty easy to do. Yeah, because you can feel it lock into place with Allen heads if they're not boogered, and if you have a good Allen screwdriver. Then you just go all the way out, and then you pull like this, and then you see it's magnetic. So it's magnetic and probably pressure sensitive a little bit. The amount how wide it is, I mean, in the screw. So let me get the second one out. There we go. It's just long enough. let me see, when you're looking through the frosted gray-black back, it's hard to see if you haven't lined up your screw. So it's better to use a headlamp or flashlight, look down there, and then line it up. And then to know approximately where it is. Because I had it all the way over here, thinking it was over here, and it's a little bit further over here. So then I think I have it in, but I'm not sure. Yep. So I didn't have it in yet. See, you think sometimes you have it in the slot, and you don't have it in the slot of the screw. That's why it takes a little longer. And you don't want to booger too much out. Hey, I was pretty darn far off till I got my eyes adjusted and I got enough light on the subject through a second flashlight. I was able to see I was way far off on, where I was supposed to be with the screwdriver. So now I can turn this over and I can take the top, hopefully the top off. Yes, like this. So here's the top. And set this aside. Then come back and I think I fit. So next, oh, now I want to flip this over. Because this is how you run this is how you run. I think you might have to take also the bottom off to get at to run the cables. You might. If the cables, I'm not sure, they might run just along the outside of this because of the, I wanted to say brackets, but they might be brackets, you can call it, but, or the standoffs. And maybe then you run it underneath here. Okay, I wanted to make sure I didn't lose anything. Then you can run it underneath here, maybe without if this being off the ground. If this is off the ground a little bit, then the wires would be able to, or cables, if you want to call them cables, can run underneath here without taking this completely off. So that might be the way it works. And if that is the way it works, that's even double, because you don't have to take out all this inner stuff and everything like in previous upgrade type kits. You don't have to take this back off or do anything. So there really, so far, seems like minimal amount of work. Just getting, seeing where the screws are to get the top off was probably pretty much, so at least so far, the hardest part of this whole thing was just getting the screws out. So let's see if I run into any other snags. But I've done this step one. Step two is, okay. Okay, so it looks like Step 3 is flipping it over. Step 1 is taking the cover off. Step 2, or 1.5, is putting the other cover back on and screwing it down. And then between 1.5, which is this one, and step 2, which is this one, so screwing it back in. And then I'll get back to then flipping it over. And you see those brackets to me look like standoffs. So then you wouldn't have to take this off. And that's just easy as pie, right? Someone with not doing a video about it and having more experience doing videos about this stuff will be able to do it in 2 shakes of a Land's table in like 20 minutes or 10 minutes, probably doing this. But I'm taking my time and like to go slowly. So I'm going to put this back on. No, I'm going to turn this around. Maybe I ran out of power on this one. This was my, for the humidity sensor. And my humidity was up to, as I kept telling you, up to 53% humidity. So that was just in this room. And that's just constant. So sometimes, as I said, it goes up to like 80, 85. It might have reached 90, but at least 85, literally, humidity. And this is in San Francisco Bay Area, which you would think, oh, it doesn't get that hot. Really? You're talking about, well, anybody that lives in London, they'll back me up on this one. It is quite damp and cold, but the humidity level is so really high because it's so damp and cold. So the humidity isn't just is moisture in the air. It isn't about how hot it is. I'm not a meteorologist, so somebody would have to tell me if I'm right. But I believe it just has to do with humidity in the air, which is what you have to deal with and I'm fitting this. So that little bracket thing that I was showing you earlier, and this one here, that actually goes on here. And if I don't break anything, that's why I go slowly. And also I'm talking at the same time. So I just want to fit both of these in. Then what happens is once I fit both of these in, then I can hold it, it'll probably stay together, and I can put the screws back in. So I don't want to put the screws in until I get both of these lined up. See, it's lined up there, but now I gotta put this down. See, now this is lined up, but this isn't lined up. Okay, now I got both of these lined up. So let me see if, let me see if I can get at least one of these screws back in. And then that'll hold it partly together if I do, without breaking something else off in the front. So then what I do, if I get that in, then if I do one on each side, then it'll hold it together until I get the others in. and I got to use the screwdriver. I could use another pair of hands. You want to reach out and help me, give me another pair of hands. So I'm seeing to make sure. The reflection too with my eyes, it looks like it's up here and it's really a little bit lower down where the hole is. So I might go and get, I'm going to go and get my other headlamp. Let me see if I can see if that's enough. Otherwise, I'll go and put fresh batteries in it. Okay, now I just got to put this together. Maybe I'm going to take this back out. Maybe I just do it a little bit easier for myself and flip it over. Since this now is flat instead of rounded, see? I wonder if they did that by design. Okay, I think so, yeah. So that's cool. That the rounded top maybe looks cool, and it's a rounded filament. And they wanted to make, maybe the bamboo guys wanted to make it a little more streamlined. But when you're doing this part in an upgrade, it's nice to have a flat surface. The other way to do it is have a foam round piece that's flat on one side and rounded to fit the unit, and then you can do it. Otherwise, sideways, I was doing it. Okay, that works. What I was looking at, it's so mirror-like finish that I was looking into basically the mirror, trying to push my screw into the mirror one, and that just didn't work. Instead of then finding out, no, it's the top one, not the bottom one that I'm seeing. It's like in one of those, what, at a carnival, those mirror houses, and trying to figure out how to get out. It's kind of like that. So let's see what I did with my other two. So I don't know if they gave me new screws, because they gave me a lot, or not, but I'm just using these over again. So, because these work fine. Now, so I got the two on that side. Now I'm doing two, if you can see me. Okay, I am back, and I believe, looking closely, I use my camera as a magnifying glass, and it works great. Now, these don't have to be long, because you got this to go all the way down. So those go all the way down. It does say in the manual at least what screws, and they're marked. So this is the M3H8 screws, and it says on here these are M3H12 screws, and these are the M3H8 screws, which are the ones you want to use. So, and it is in these two little holes here. If I can put you down here. I don't know if you can see, but those two holes are the ones right here and right here. There's two little holes, and those holes are the ones you attach these two. So so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they may give you extra. I forget, but or I didn't count. And we are off and running. So I'm going to try with the magnetic screwdriver. Put this in. As you can see, that doesn't go all the way through, so it wouldn't go that way, the way I thought. I thought the flat end would be for standing it upright, and so therefore you'd want it flat. But I guess not so. Not so. And so now I have to see if it goes this way, or even that way, or that way. So I'm going to try it this way. See, because they all have holes in them. So see, there's the two holes in here. It's hard to see. See down there, there's two holes. Then there's two holes there. So it's which way it's supposed to go on. Let me look at the diagram and direct my screwdriver doesn't fall off. Yeah, it might be. Let me show you again. It might be like this. So we'll try that. I can always take it back off once I get to the next part. The next part maybe solidifies the first part. Okay, there's one. I'm just going to see this, and then I'm going to maybe check the next step so I don't put them all on and then have to take them all back off. Probably have to loosen up. That's a good idea not to tighten screws down too tight until you get it all in position the way you want. Because now I have to see black on black again. Usually I just feel around and try to do it because that's how I've been doing it for years until I got my eyes done. Trying to feel whether it's correct or not, which takes a long time. So keep going to the eye doctor. And then I'm going to line that up. Do my second one. I guess they made this kind of universal. So maybe it can go multiple ways. So they only have to design it once. So I think that's it. Okay, let me try this again. This the hardest part for me is lining up and getting the screws in. A lot of the other stuff that's harder for other people are easier for me. But I will carry on, as the English say. I will carry on, keep trying till I get it. Or the other saying is give it the old college try. The other saying. I don't know if that's English too or just American saying. And I'm giving it my all college try and making sure I can because I got to get this done. There, as Yoda said, do or don't do, but there's no try, or whatever that is. I don't have the exact words, but close enough. And so in my book for tennis, though, I would say there is try for the kids and everything I teach. You want to definitely teach trying, because kids won't want other kids to laugh at them, or they think they can't do it, and then so often, and they haven't even tried to do it. So whatever I'm asking, whether it's jump rope or usually jump rope, and they say, well, I can't do it, I can't do it. And they haven't even tried to do it. And I ask them, have you even done it before? No, but I can't do it, I can't do it. And it's like, just give it a try. You can do it, you can do it. Yep, and I'm trying to see why this doesn't want to screw down. The next step, I think I do, let's take that off, is I'm going to put on step, let's see, I was looking at step 4 and seeing how step 4 works, but step 5 just screws in. So step 5, this, let me put down. Step 5, so this part will hook basically, let's see what the back is, and I think this goes in the back. So then this goes something like this. I'll look at the diagram again, but I think it goes about like that. And then there are 4 holes if you put screws for all 4, and then you can adjust it a little bit. But basically, or maybe there's just 2 screw holes for that part. There's another part that maybe goes on the top of the other 2 screws, because the other 2 screws kind of, well, I don't know. I'll see. So what I want is, so if I screw down, I think okay, let's see if this works. I'm probably going to have to put it on, because usually I have it flipped backwards. But basically, that's why this little clip there was. I'll take it off and show you the clip, but there's a clip here, the screws here, and then this here. And I assume somewhere there's 2 holes here and here. So somewhere around here is the where I put the screw it down. Basically, it's going to hold like that. Let me gently put this down. And let me see if I can tilt my, maybe I can zoom in. Nope. So we'll see if I can tilt down. But right here is the little spacer groove. And then you have these longer pieces and this half round piece. So this groove, I'll show you this piece, goes in here, the half rounds here, and the two longer holes go in here, and you may have to wiggle it a little bit to get it to line up on this side like I did, but it's the same on this side. Now, since I have this upside down, I have to see when I flip it over. So when this flips over, is that going to be upside down? And I believe it's going to be upside down. So if I do it like this, if I do it like this and flip it over, then that should be right side up. So I think that's how you do it. So I'm going to do that part, and then this part is basically the same thing, where you have the same clips, and you just wiggle it gently. You never want to break. You don't know how fragile the plastic pieces are. And basically it's going to go like that, the same way it does up here for this section. And then I've got to see how the wires are routing. So I can either do that, or the wires, maybe if they're supposed to route like this, makes more sense. Let me see. Excuse me. Makes more sense if I route, because the wires, if I do it this way, the wires seem like they're way too tall. And I think they're supposed to run through here, so lay relatively flat. And if I do here, when I lay it down, they hit against the top. So that doesn't seem like that's the way it's supposed to work. And if I do this, maybe I can bend the wires like this and hook this on, and maybe that's how it's supposed to go on. I'll look at the instructions again. But I'm not so sure that's how it's supposed to go either. But it's supposed to go something like that. So I'm going to re-look at the screws. Let's see, look like this. So when I flip it over, it's going to be, now when I flip it over, it should be like that, lining up. So then I got to flip it over like this to line this up. Let's see if I just put screws in this part and then look at the rear part and see if anything starts to make sense. Since there's no feedback, there's no wording instructions. So now let's see. I have to see what, also, if it says what screws. To do step 5, which is what I'm doing, is I should probably run step 4 first, but I can always take the screws out. So step 5, goes down. So I think it might work like that. Is that step 5 I'm showing you? It might work like I showed you for the back part. So I'm going to take this off and get my wires out. Okay, this is the one where it's the Y wire, and this shows going toward the screen. And so there should be then 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you got the 4 wires which I already hooked up here. And then you got these that are going to go to the into here, eventually into here. So let's see. I can figure that out. Here are so you can see the steps. Maybe take a screenshot or just look up the manual. I'm sure it's probably online. And I might, if I can't figure this out, which I should be able to, I'm going to just ask Gemini and see if Google Gemini can help me, which I do for a lot of things. So I'll take this off. This is the only harder part. And then look around here. Yep. So okay, I will put you. Let's see if this works. I'm probably gonna have to put it on because usually I have it flipped backwards. But basically, that's why this little clip there was. I'll take it off and show you the clip. But there's a clip here, the screws here, and then this here. And I assume somewhere there's 2 holes here and here. So somewhere around here is the where I put the screw it down. Basically, it's going to hold like that. Let me gently put this down. And let me see if I can tilt my, maybe I can zoom in. Nope. So we'll see if I can tilt down. But right here is the little spacer groove. And then you have these longer pieces and this half round piece. So this groove, I'll show you this piece, goes in here, the half rounds here, and the 2 longer holes go in here, and you may have to wiggle it a little bit to get it to line up on this side like I did, but it's the same on this side. Now, since I have this upside down, I have to see when I flip it over. So when this flips over, is that going to be upside down? And I believe it's going to be upside down. So if I do it like this, and flip it over, then that should be right side up. So I think that's how you do it. So I'm going to do that part, and then this part is basically the same thing, where you have the same clips, and you just wiggle it gently. You never want to break. You don't know how fragile the plastic pieces are. And basically it's going to go like that, the same way it does up here for this section. And then I've got to see how the wires are routing. So I can either do that, or the wires, maybe if they're supposed to route like this, makes more sense. Let me see. Excuse me. Makes more sense if I route, because the wires, if I do it this way, the wires seem like they're way too tall. And I think they're supposed to run through here. so lay relatively flat. And if I do here, when I lay it down, they hit against the top. So that doesn't seem like that's the way it's supposed to work. And if I do this, maybe I can bend the wires like this and hook this on, and maybe that's how it's supposed to go on. I'll look at the instructions again. But I'm not so sure that's how it's supposed to go either. But it's supposed to go something like that. So I'm going to re-look at the screws. Let's see, look like this. So when I flip it over, it's going to be, no, when I flip it over, it should be like that, lining up. So then I got to flip it over like this to line this up. Let's see if I just put screws in this part and then look at the rear part and see if anything starts to make sense. Since there's no feedback, there's no wording instructions. So now let's see. I have to see what, also, if it says what screws. To do step 5, which is what I'm doing, is I should probably run step 4 first, but I can always take the screws out. So step 5, goes down. So I think it might work like that. Is that step 5 I'm showing you? It might work like I showed you for the back part. So I'm going to take this off and get my wires out. Okay, this is the one where it's the Y wire, and this shows going toward the screen. And so there should be then 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you got the 4 wires which I already hooked up here. And then you got these that are going to go to the into here, eventually into here. So let's see. I can figure that out. Here are the, so you can see the steps. Maybe take a screenshot or just look up the manual. I'm sure it's probably online. And I might, if I can't figure this out, which I should be able to, I'm going to just ask Gemini and see if Google Gemini can help me, which I do for a lot of things. So I'll take this off. This is the only harder part. And then look around here. Yep. So okay, I will put you on pause again. I am back, and I think it goes like this. So one goes, yeah, I thought I had it down. I'm thinking, yeah, so I guess, so one's going over here like such or so, and then one's going something like this. I'm just going to lay it out. And then one's going a little bit toward the screen. So which one says screen? And then these are labeled. So this is power, and then this one says heater. So if you can see, that's the heater. Let me see, it's probably upside down, but this is the power, if you can read that. And this says screen on it. So the screen is going to be on the front, obviously, and, well, maybe not obvious to some, but obvious to most. But the screen would be on the front. The screen would be on the back, it would be hard to use. So this is something like that. So now the next thing is, once I got that laid out, I have to go to the next step, step 5, which is the one. And I'm taking longer because I'm going to show you the manual as we go along, as long as it's showing on the screen recording. So on here, that one is step 5. So that's screwing down these units. So again, I have to remember which way I do this. So when I flip it over, it's going to be like that. And so that's good. I don't know whether I have to do this step first, because it looks like I can just easily run it underneath. So 6 to 1.5 dozen the other, I guess, which step you do first. But I'm going by what they say, or what the pictures show. I guess not what they say, because they're not saying anything. Okay, now let me make sure that I am M12. So I'm supposed to use the M3H12 for these instead. So I'm going to take this off because I only have 2 hands. And then remember that these screws here are the M3 H8, and these are the M3H12 screws. So I'm going to try to not take them all the way out of the package so I know if I forget. And then now I have to maybe one at a time. And as I said, it takes me a little longer to do the screws and everything. That takes me the longest time because of what my eyes used to be. So when everything else goes pretty simple. Now let me take this out, because you see how I'm going over steps that maybe not necessary for some people, but necessary for a complete beginner. And there are 3 screws, so this is more for a complete beginner setup, and you'll just have to skip ahead if you already know this stuff. So there you see those 3 smaller screws right there. This one right there, that one, and this one, and whatever, that one. So I have to see if those, yeah, there's 3 holes up here. So I think those 3 holes, all I need to do is screw these in. So I'm going to do this. And as I said, I'd rather go slow and have it take a long time than to rush it. But if you care to rush it, go right ahead. But I prefer not to rush it. And to take my time, and then others. See, now I don't want that to fall off because I don't want to break anything. So I'm kind of holding that down because it's a little tipsy. And then Okay, so I did that one. I think what I'm going to do is do this one over here. Then I'll have a good hold that I can let go of this without fear of it falling and breaking. Okay, now I'm going to do these other ones. It doesn't really matter which ones. You want to go back and cinch them down at the end. And all these are screwing into plastic. So remember that. There's no metal, there's no of the brass metal inserts to make this more robust if you're unscrewing and rescrewing. Hopefully you only need to do this once, maybe twice. And then the plastic won't get because too many times and the plastic will just get stripped out. And then you'll be up a creek without a paddle, as the saying goes. And because your paddle will have broken. That's the thing. Your paddle will have broken, or the creek will have run dry, whichever way you want to say it. When it strips out, there won't be any place for your boat or paddle to go. The bed will be dry on the what's the song? Bye bye Miss American Pie. So that song. Yeah, the levee is dry. My Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. So, okay, so I can let go of that. So I'm just going to put this in first because that seems easier for me. And then stick this down here. And then screw this down. Okay, so that's three. Let me go back around and okay, tighten down each one of these. Okay, that's nice and tight. Nice and tight. Nice and tight. You want them tight, but you don't want to over tight to break anything or strip anything or anything like that. So they decided to make this as cheap as possible with still making a profit, as any company nowadays wants to do, except for Apple. Apple would rather just charge what they think they need to charge and make it what they consider a premium product. But I'm going to do this, and then this now goes down here. These are the holes. Let me show you again. These are the holes for the, I think it's the data, and this looks more like power cables. Yeah, so, oh, and the power cable, I see on the back, they plug in, so they don't need to slide this way. So what I thought was wrong was right, but once I realized which ones were the power cables. Now I want to see how this, if I were to shove it, it doesn't quite fit. It'll fit when I jiggle it back and forth and line it up, but I don't want to flex it too much that it's going to break it. Now this one lays mostly flat. So all I have to do now is, it makes it easier. The other one with the front screens, it made it top heavy. Now I just screw these in. And as they're going in, they will be snug to go in, but then you will know when they are when it's fully snug all the way down, when you've locked them down. So, but they are pretty snug in. And you could use a powered screwdriver, I bet, to run these in. But if you want to make sure you don't strip them, and it doesn't take too long to use this tool, then I would say use this screwdriver. And you don't have very many screws. What did I have? 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 screws to put in here. And then to take 2 screws out of the back, that was 4. And to put 2 more in was another 4. So that's 4, that's 8. So 12 and 8 is 20. So far I've only put in 20 screws. So that's not too bad. And again, yes, I'm going kind of slow. But as you can see, this is pretty darn easy to put together. So if you watch this video and then go to put it together, you should, if it shows up really well, it's hard to tell on your small iPhone screen. But if it shows up pretty well what I'm doing, then you should have no problems doing it yourself. Like, I didn't want to do some of the upgrades. One, if it was working, don't fool with it, was my, what do they call it? Philosophy, or what's the term? But then I also thought it was so complicated. You got to print this out, and you got to take this out and that out, and the tubes out, and blah 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 to do the insert. And then I wondered if this was going to be just as complicated. They gave so far 2 extra screws, and they gave a few extra screws, so I have to see what that does. But this is now locked down, which is great, because then when if I pick up the whole unit, I wondered whether I'd have to hold vicariously all the unit parts if I wanted to move it. This is nice that it's all snug, and I can just pick it up and move it off if I need to get inside the printer to unclog a broken filament. So then what I need to do, so now what I need to do is I need to plug this in to the bottom. I don't know if I can show you. This into the bottom here, which is the USB-C adapter. So I'll probably leave that out and not show you that part, because I have to bring the camera around. Plus I have my mic set up attached to the tripod, so it's not as easy as just taking the camera off and bringing it around. So this Let me see if I have the flashlight. Okay, so the flashlight, so down there, maybe over there, I got to see exactly. Somewhere up here, I'll look for that. That's the connector up there. So I have to plug in. So I'm going to see where the connector is, plug that in. But also, as you see, if I turn this around, see, I've got this is in a plug-in. This one is in a plug-in to the front plug pieces. So it's going to plug in. And then this one is going to plug in to here. So let's see if it all reaches. No, that doesn't plug in. No. Excuse me, that's wrong. These plug plug in down here. These are power. And back, so these, so it's gonna be, so it's A, B, C, D, which is reversed because I have it upside down. So I'm gonna plug these in. So A plugs in here. Okay, there we go. One, sometimes the inner connector, which is the metal or brass part, aluminum or brass, is a little tight. So one side, I felt like this side, I think, was a little tighter than that side to go in. So that's my problem up here too. So this, now B goes in here. And I don't think it matters whether it's this way or this way. But don't quote me on that. Okay, now that one, now this one goes in here. If you ever plugged in power cords for a PC, this is just like plugging in power for a PC. So then what I want is, what I wanted is to make sure that this part that goes back to the printer, so I may take this out. No, maybe that's all right. I could go like under. I'm seeing whether I go under or over, which is the best way. And let me get that so it doesn't. So let's see if I unplug this. I think what I'm going to do is unplug this. And I can always change it when I get back to the printer and find it. Because I like the route as neatly and have as much flex or length as possible. So that's what I'm really referring to when I get back to my printer. And therefore it looks a little neater. Okay, so I got that. Now I have to see. So if, okay, that's the power. This is the power to each of these. And then, so I'm thinking every time I pause, which one? So if this one goes to the front, then I have to see one. This one, I think, plugs in here. Then I have to see what this one plugs into. So I'm going to have to watch the manual and see what one that one plugs into. The longer one. It says it's a heater. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Okay, so if I plug this into B, And USB, it doesn't matter, upside down, right side up. And I like that they're using now USB for everything. Instead of the old, it's not A, it's mini and micro USB. I'm glad they're for this, they're giving it up. So let me, I'm gonna have to see, there's probably connectors somewhere that I'm not seeing, so that plugs in back here. But I'm gonna plug this in temporarily. And then this goes like this, up like so. Let me, and then I'm just temporarily laying it out. Then once I see, oh yeah, that works, then I'm going to plug everything in permanently. And then that goes there. And then I got two more, so yeah, so this one, get it uncaught from the little tray that's on the bottom of the printer or the unit. And then plug this in, which you can't see. And then I'm plugging in the last one. And the last one, okay, so that would be that side. Then I should have plugs to go to all those for this side. Now I have to see what the plug is for all these. So all the last ones. Once I know that, then it's just routing the cables, because I'm not sure. Maybe I go under this one. And then to see how the routing's the best and the neatest. Go back. And then okay, now going there and going something like that. So that would work. I may plug them all in and show you at the end. Let's see. So the power. Okay. So now down here, right here next to this power for this unit, I guess, or powering that, then this power that says power is going to be over here, this one. So there's a USB on each one of these as well. So there must be like two powers or something like that. So then this would go like that. And then I have to see if I routed it right, that there's enough length. Because I'm not sure if there's enough, that'll be enough length. That's another thing that I'll have to reroute these. And so let me just, that's why I plug them in temporarily. See if all the length works and it looks good, you can leave them plugged in. But otherwise, you're going to have to figure out, well, what routing did I do? Maybe that's why they want you to route before you put this on, because if you have to go through underneath here, maybe maybe it won't fit. So I may have to take these off. We'll see when I plug the front part in. And then, yeah, I think, okay, let me use my flashlight. I'll put you on pause again and then find out where the plug is on this. Okay, now, so I got these, so I'm going to hold my tripod like this. And then, so go like this. Now you see I got all of them plugged in. What I did was I took this off. I plugged the front cable in first. Then I put this on and screwed it down. So that works a lot easier than trying to fiddle your fingers in here. The cable, the place for the cable is up here by the where you rotate it up and down. So I did those, and then it made this just go together pretty easily. See these? So these go from here, and then these go up into the cable, and then the shorter ones go into these. Just make sure it's A, B, C, D, and representing, I think it represents slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4. So it might be a little confusing what I'm saying, but you can represent A as probably 1, B 2, C 3, and D 4. And then I didn't have to take this back off at all. I just need to route these and hook them up first and then put this on and screw it down. So I think I'm ready now, put this back down, to flip it over and put in, let me rotate this back down, and put this in, okay, flip this completely over. Let me, okay, now so I'm going to gently flip this over, maybe push these down. You want to push down like here, because that'll maybe snap it. So I would hold something like this and gently feel it go down so you don't snap anything off. Because once you set it to the angle you want, you're probably not going to change it very much. So it's snug, but if I hit these really hard, it could potentially snap off. So what I'm going to do is now flip this over. Okay. What I need to do, what the hold up is, I need to route this back down and not set it on top of the unit. So see if I can put this back in the back again. Or put it someplace out of the way. Okay, now we're down to this. So we're getting down to at least half done or the home stretch. 9 innings. If you watched I watch some baseball. I'm not huge baseball as much as tennis and auto racing and maybe golf and some other sports, the Olympics. But I did watch the World Series where they had, I don't know, they went to the 11th or the 18th inning in the World Series. Um, so that saying comes kind of from that. And then that was a long game. So this, now let's see how this rotates up. I'm cautious on everything because since everything's plastic, it could easily snap if you're not careful. Now, it's going to be probably okay as long as you know how tight. Like you have to know how loose or tight things are. This is fairly tight at the moment, like it should be, so it can hold at any angle. Like it can hold even at that angle, which I'm not sure the original cover could. Now, it has a little bit of play in here. So, but I'm going to put this back, and now I got to put whatever these go. And then I've got to put, these are the feet, so I didn't put the feet on. I'll have to flip that over and do that. But in any case, excuse me, I'm going to figure out how these go. They go something. Yeah, I'm just seeing if I can guess where they go and put them in where I think they go, but I think I'm going to have to read the manual again and see what they say goes next. So now I flipped it back over. So now I'm on step. I'm on step 8, and it's step 8 before you flip it over. So maybe step 8 is where I put that rubber piece. So if I flip it over again and see, maybe put my feet on and find out where this rubber piece goes. It's a pretty nice looking unit. There are a few spots and stuff already. I'm thinking the top, I wouldn't put any harsh chemicals to clean it, but I would try to take a cloth, maybe a tiny bit of water on the top. Not enough to get in any of the electronics, remember that. They're probably not waterproof. But if you damp a cloth, you can probably rub the top because there's little nicks and different stuff already. And I don't know whether that'll come off with polishing. But here nor there, it's still a nice looking unit. And it really fits. They really made it to fit really nicely as a top to the Bamboo Labs AMS unit that's already made. So that was really nice. A lot of things don't fit as, I got to get out of the way. See, I was going to set it on top. So I have my theory on getting that out of the way. So now this has to go somewhere. Let me see if let me look at the manual and then see if there's like a hole that this slides through or where. So we did this, we did that. we did this, we did this, and now we're up to doing whatever this is. And I don't know what this gray, if you can see, I don't know where this gray part is, what that's supposed to be. But then this looks like the rubber piece, right? Looks like the rubber piece. So that looks back by maybe where the hinge is up for the top. I'm going to guess that that's it. And if that's it, then I got to, then that would be down here. So I have to see. I can't tell. Maybe step 8, I already flipped it over. So I'm going to try flipping it over again and seeing where this goes in. Because once this goes in, you flip it over and you put in all the innards. So I always like to be, again, gentle, and I don't mind saying it 1,000 times. Gentle and try not to break anything. Even if you could get parts, I'm hoping that you can if this ever breaks. But that you're going to have to wait like 3 weeks. And who wants to wait 3 weeks before you can use your printer? You're wasting money, as they say. So now, where did I say that was? So maybe lift this up. Well, maybe I can do that last because I can't figure out what this is. And then this looks like it represents the top. So this, and then if it was, I'll close the top. So that would be the top here. And then, so I don't know, I can't figure it out yet. But I've gotten this far. So let's go on to the next step, which is the next page. So there's these pieces, which I assume are these pieces, which is right here, right there. Let me get my trusty pointer out. And then right here, these, and then you have these pieces. So, and then it shows that. So, as when they're put in, installed. And then you have these, and that shows how to install probably also. And then these are the arrow pieces, which are these here. So that's the next step, but that's going too far. So let's do this, and let's see if I can get these pieces in. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 of these pieces. And then we have 4 of these pieces. And I thought I saw, so I'll look around. thought I saw, I thought they were blue pieces, but apparently these are clear, so maybe these are the pieces. And then, so B, A, C, so two B's and an A and a C. And these are all look like, now maybe these are the same, roughly the same size. And then these are the same size, maybe. Yeah, I wish there was a little more explanation on this part. Because, let's see, A is over here. So then A, baffle. So C, you would have thought maybe they mislabeled these. You would have thought it would be A, B, C, D on these, but and they just mislabeled them. There's little grooves here on the inside of the printer. Let's see if I can get you a closer inside look. To hold the cable in place, my iPhone went to sleep or something, so we'll see if it's working. I'm on the iOS 26 beta, so sometimes things can go awry. So anyway, I have to see if it goes in here. Let me get you a flashlight for light on the subject. If it goes in like here, whoops, and if it goes in here, there's nothing to hold it back here. You see how it fell out like that. So there has to be oh, let me see. This was inside. So I think this was PLA from my bamboo filament. So if you can see, it's PLA. So that was a sticker that came off my spool. And then, so I got to see how this slots. So once I do that, I'm pretty much done. And that would be yippee. So I will again put you on pause and again apologize if it's a little disjointed on the video clips. But normally I can make it look pretty decent. Now my videos in my editing, I'm pretty decent in editing. So I will put you on pause and be back again. Okay, now one thing, it didn't fix my issue for what I was working on next, but I did find that that there's 3 of these, and there are, so these, so then I'm going to pull these out again. Now, this, somewhere, let me see the instructions again. Okay, so it shows. I'm looking at these and seeing if I can get my fingers out of the way and seeing that's supposed to go somewhere here. So it's supposed to go somewhere either like that or like this. And so I have to, so in the manual, they don't really show that part. They show the part which is this piece. They show this put already installed, but they don't show steps on installing it. So I have to go by the video and look at it and zoom in. Maybe I can zoom in on it. Yeah, it looks like the fatter piece. See how this is a little triangle or wedge? I don't know if you can see because it's black. But then it is the thicker part on here is supposed to go something like this. I think something like that is the best that I can see, because the notch up here doesn't look like on the video. The notch up here is exposed. So I think that's it. And then let's try these others. So I'll take these back out. And then what I'm doing is I think I'm supposed to put this in first. And then I'm supposed to put this and then this then is supposed to go over the top of this. And if you do it that way, or you do it the way I did it, where I put this here first, and then put this in, I don't really think it matters. Then supposed to do that, so I have to take this back out though, and then let me see if all three of these are exactly the same, because that may be one different. Won't. Okay, I got that wedged in there. Okay, now, yeah, I guess they're all pretty much the same cut. That's that one. And then this would be this one. I guess they're pretty much the same. Now I got to put this little, this piece back in again. Well, not again, but for the second part. Yeah, I think it goes like that. And then in this one, yeah, maybe it's supposed to go like that. So if you can see it. And then I put, and that is probably like that. And then I put, let's see, one more. Okay, now that's in. And there's a side, which is a deeper cut before you get to the notch inside here. So make sure if it doesn't fit one way, you can maybe see the notch. I'm not sure here. But then just make sure to change it around. Like I had it, I'll take this back out. I had it like this. I had it like this, and that wasn't right. So I had it kind of like this, but it wouldn't go in. So then I changed it around and flipped it over because I think the thicker arrow part is supposed to be up this way. Whether that makes a difference or not, who knows? But I was looking at the video and zooming in on it. So I think it's more or less like that. And then I'm going to put this. So if this goes like that, and then I'm going to put this in here, and then I'm seeing whether it still goes in that slot. Because maybe there's a little piece here, like slot or something. It's not a slot because it's the male version and not the female, which would be a slot. So it's not a slot you put something in, it's something that, the opposite, whatever you call it. But I'm going to put this on and see if this goes in that slot. And then fits if I put it together correctly. And that might hold together, although there's a big, if I can do the light, there's a big gap here then, and I'm not so sure there should be a big gap. Air, not that I know, maybe they're supposed to be, I don't know, because I haven't put this together before. I'll see in the video if there's supposed to be a, oops, I went too far in the video. Okay.
EIBOS.
Okay, so you know how to pronounce it now. So every time I tip my finger on. Oh, so I'll go back here. Okay, now let's see. Go forward. Yeah, so see how it looks like there's not supposed to be a gap. So, which is the gap, showing in here. And there is, so then I want to see if I got this little piece installed correctly. Let's see if this is supposed to go in here. I think that goes like that. Yeah, that makes more sense. We'll see if it slips over. Then I'll readjust the other ones. Yeah, but you see, if I do that, it's not going flat on here, and then I have to see. It should go way down like that, or way down or even further, but let's see here. Okay, that goes down. I think that holds on. So it's how I'm supposed to put this little piece on. Let's try that. I'm close, but I don't think I'm totally correct. I don't think it's going all the way down. Still leaving a little bit of a gap. Let's see if I can push this down. Wedge that on, see if that'll help me. And then no, there's still a gap, so I can work around. Oh, I moved that a little bit. So let's see if that works. I think it's supposed to go. See, the spacing between, if I can go, that's my light. The spacing between the rollers and that little piece, as I said, wedge it in here. And so I think that's where this is supposed to line up. But then it's also supposed to go all the way down to where there's no gap here. So I've got to figure that out. That's what takes me a little longer time. longer time is to get this gap so you would think this would fit right there, but then see that's off there. So maybe that's not in here. That's why I think EIBOS didn't do quite so well on the manual. Let me see. That's a little bit, looks like, wider on that end than it is on this end. And so maybe that's what goes down and instead of lock in. Who knows? I'm just guessing. And then I'm just guessing, and I keep forgetting to, when I'm working on it, to make sure it's in the camera view. Unless I'm going to put you on pause again, which might be likely. Put you on pause again. Because I know somewhere it either goes here, maybe it just goes there. And I'm trying to put it down here in this groove, and it goes up here in that groove, leaving this open. See, that's too high. So I'll put you on pause. Okay, now I am back. I'm going to show you probably what I did would have been good to show on video. But what I did, if you can see these back pieces, you've got to work with it and line it up because you want it in the slot. There's a little tongue, and the groove of the black piece goes in here and goes toward sort of the bottom part of the curvy lines, and then it is supposed to go in, over the little lip tongue between the rollers. So if it's off space, like, let me get off my trusty, see what I did with my trusty quote pointer. If it's a little off here, then you want to put it back out here. And then what I did was I lightly took my mallet and lightly, not too hard, but a little bit firm, tap here and tap here. And if it doesn't start to go down, to reduce the gap here, so tap here, and put this on, and then it should reduce the gap to close to 0, but there's probably going to be a tiny bit play. And so right here is where the groove was, and here is between the rollers. So that's where you want to put it. Now, if it doesn't seem to be going down with a light to light medium tap here, and then on here, then this is not lined up correctly. So keep working with the alignment of this piece to get it just right, to get it to go over and then seat down over the tongue. So that's the main key, is to get this to line up perfectly. There's a little U-shaped piece cut out here that goes over the, it's maybe the roller piece. So this is the roller, but the shaft for the roller, and it should go over there, so the little tiny part should be in the front, not covered. And then toward the back piece, not the very back one, but the back piece, you want to insert this at the right angle. And if it's off angle, it won't go down all the way here, and it'll leave quite a big of a gap here. And if there's a big gap here by like half an inch or an inch, then you know that this isn't lined up correctly. So go back and forth with this to get it to line up. And then you see how I tapped and maybe shaved off a little bit of filament, not filament, but acrylic, in trying to bang it down. I didn't bang it too hard, but I hit on it to make it go down and seat all the way down. And I could do more. You see how, I don't know if you can see that part somewhere around there. You probably can't see it, but there's a little bit of a gap still here. A screwdriver width of gap here. And then this has a tiny bit of gap, but it's getting better. And this still has a tiny bit of gap. And I don't know if that's going to make a difference. I'm going to try to go back and get it so there isn't any gap here, because that's what you really want to strive for, is no gap. Then you know most of the air isn't going to filtrate from the heat over to here, which is what you want to try to avoid. So let me go back and pound a little more. I think I got it pretty well. Yeah, I see that went down a little. That went down a little more. That went down better, so I might take these off, try it again. You got to do a little bit on the back and then a little bit up here. See if it'll wedge down a little tighter. You only go so far. And then even like this, there still looks like there's a hair gap. You don't want to hit it too hard to break anything. So I'm really going, I'm just kind of mushing it down. I'm not like whacking on it like that, which is probably what you don't want to do. And I think it might be as close as I'm going to get. But this, you see how this then popped up again. So I got to see if I can get it. So this doesn't keep popping up like this and out. I had it down and then it just popped up again. So maybe it needs to clip in the front. This piece might need to clip in. So, and I thought I had it. You don't want to smash it so much that it gets loose. Like now, if I have it too loose, that's not what I want. So I want it like that. And that would be perfect if it's not going to pop out. So let's hope that's in, right. That seems wedged pretty well. And that seems wedged in fairly well. I wish this was back down a tiny bit more in the back. So you see how I'm just like mashing it. I'm not whacking on it. So I'm just mashing it enough to get it to go down a little more. But I think I'm going to have to work with that and pull this back out. Because maybe this piece here is, if you can see it, maybe this piece here is too low and not angled at the right angle. Then if it's hitting on here, it wouldn't go that extra 0.5 millimeter that I need down here. So maybe that's it. Because everything else seems really tight. So I'm wondering whether to leave it or not. I could put a little tape in here, and maybe the tape would seal the opening. So I could probably do that. Okay, now you see here, now what I want to do, see there's a lip here. This one goes over the in between the spool, so you don't want to cover that part. This part you're not supposed to cover, so it's angling it somehow over this part here. So whether I angle it this way, angle it this way, angle it a little bit that way, slight angling might or angle it like that. What I have to do is put it in and then test it over here and see if it fits in this little in the little slot there. Let me get my trusty pointer. So this here is a slot, and so not a slot but a tongue, and so you can use that as the groove. I don't know why they put it in there. Maybe they thought they were going to upgrade this unit, bamboo, but why they added that plastic piece. So, but it made it easy for these guys to do it. Now it's there like that. Now I have to see I got a pretty big gap there by pushing down. So, but I don't think that is going down far enough. So now I'm going to wiggle it. I wiggle it back and forth to get it to loosen up, to come out. I don't try to pull it straight out. And then, so if this is too long here, then I'm going to have to turn it like so. No. Let me see if it's supposed to go up. I don't think it's supposed to go up that far because there's the notch. So that's probably not it, but then I have to try it since it really doesn't tell you what to do. So I'm going to push it up there and see if by pushing it up there, whether that will be good enough to get it to go down. Now it looks like it's hitting. Oh, no, it wedged. It pushed itself down. Yeah, I'm still having a tad bit more gap than I would like. See, these are the things that you won't hear on most other videos. So watching my videos, I think, have some merit because you'll get to see what a newbie goes through in doing these things. So, and to see. And then I'm going to get it eventually. I'm so close. I try turning it around and so forth. I'm so close. If I get these, I do believe, by George, I am probably done. I'm going to put the feet on the bottom. But I think I'm done if I can get these to seat down cleanly. I would like it cleanly, but I could leave it with a slight gap and see if that works. But I wouldn't want to have issues and wondering what the issues are because I didn't have a tight enough seal. So let me put this down again. See, I think that's hitting on the top here, hitting on there. So I need to, sorry, hitting on there. So I think that's too high. So I need to bring this down a little bit. And then I could do it like that. See if that works. No, that's too much of a gap. So that's not it, but I'll get it. It's like color correcting on a on your photos. It's now I got it too much wedged in here. There we go. Too much wedge. So it's color correcting. It's a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit contrast, a little bit sharp, not sharpness, but a little bit, shadow detail, a little bit color, a little bit. And then you finally, after a while, it finally, bing, that's it. and then you've got it color corrected. But it takes a long time. You'd like, I'm doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that. It's not working, not working, not working. And then bing, it finally, because you did the right combination. And it's a combination that you um, don't always realize with your eyes. You don't see or you don't know that it isn't just color, like whether it's red or orange, in your photographs, that you think that that's the issue. Well, the color is off. Well, the color isn't just the color you see. I think it must be this. And then so close, I'm tempted to leave it. Now these should go under and snap under there. I am not sure that it matters if they don't pop out. One, I think, went under the lip of these. The other ones didn't really fit under the lip as well. But I don't think they'll come out. So I'm going to leave those, and they're the way they're supposed to be. And then, so if this, put my flashlight through it, and this, I guess there's not any gap. This, you see, now is a big gap. Now I clipped it in. That actually clipped in, and I love that. And they must have given me a second one of these, and by accident. And then, so I could probably change one of these out. But I think these are in just perfect. So I'm going to go with it. If there's a gap, there's a very, very tiny gap. So now I'm going to, check the manual, see if I got. Okay, now this that I'm doing, let me turn this around. These are the little things, and I think they're supposed to go like that. Yeah, and then clip in, and that'll hold the top down to be airtight. So that's the airtight, which I never knew about. So you see how we learn things together, like Shapiro, something Shapiro. So I'm giving him credit for the saying, learn something together, and not trying to steal his saying. But I like it because we are learning something together. And I watched a lot of his videos. I haven't lately, but watch his videos on, it's on the slicers. He does mainly on slicer, like the Kira slicers. So then I can turn that. I can get away with not having to do both of these, because now it's a little hard. I'll have to push down and then pull out. Yeah, because this was not pushing down all the way. Now let's see. So at least I'm giving him credit like I'm supposed to do on the saying. And I So I'm seeing if you can see how the lid goes over and whether it seats over and mashes up with the bottom to keep the air at the right temperature for each one of these. Now, what's supposed to happen is each one of these dries. So this unit is basically now a dryer. But when I go to print, it's going to also through here or through here. Let me open this up again. And I'm not sure exactly, without rereading the information, whether whether it's because I read the information before I got the unit. So whether it's through the back unit or through this front part, like going through here, I don't think these are the gears. So I don't think there's a heating unit there. But somehow coming into here, there's supposed to be extra flash drying for the filament. So whatever their term is for it. And so that's really cool because that gives extra boost of drying. Maybe it's a little bit hotter, I'm not sure. But for the filament that's going directly then through the bottom tube, but I just call it directly into the hot end. And that's basically, let me look. I don't think I'm going to take it apart. And since everything's hooked up, and reroute the wires, like here, you can see that the wires where my thumb is, step 4, I have a issue, step 4, where I didn't route the wire where it was really supposed to be, but it plugged all in, and unless I have an issue, I'm not going to deal with it. Oh, but I do have, I forgot about these plates. So I got to figure out now what step these plates go in. So I'm going to go, maybe get a little dinner and come back, or tomorrow morning, put the feet on and do this part plates and see where these are supposed to go. Because I think these are supposed to go, as I said, back here. But there's no, it looks like there's no groove. And I'll put a light on it. I think there's no groove to get these to wedge in. So do they wedge down here? I believe they go in the back somehow. So maybe they go like that, but that doesn't go all the way down. So that would go like that. That would kind of make sense, but that doesn't go all the way down. So whether they don't go here, obviously, and they don't go here, and they don't go, ooh, ooh, they might go there. Wow. Okay, so let's see if in the back, at least I got that going, and I think that might have worked. So I said they didn't go here. Let's duplicate it and see if that works. And go here, and then if that goes down, that goes down. That if I can get this to wedge down, that makes sense where I put it, because it goes all the way down, wedges in, and it looked like it went on the back plate. So if I can do that, that would be real. Oh, that may not work. But if I can go down like that, yeah, that might work. But I got to get the middle one then to work. So see, like the middle one isn't quite working. So if I can lift that up a little bit, but I got to put down my flashlight and okay, then push that down, wedge that in. And does that look correct to you guys? And like that, and then it's like this. Let me wedge it out and put my spotlight. These are nice flashlights. I'm not getting paid to say this, but these are the Duracell. We got them at our Cost Plus, not Cost Plus, Costco, big box store. And then they zoom in and out. So make sure you get the ones that zoom in and out. They make a updated version of these, which are even a little more powerful, but these are compact, the earlier version. But the ones, they make ones, Duracell, that don't, you see how they zoom in and out. I just keep them like this. And for the dogs, when I take our dogs out, on our front lawn, which is quite a big area, it will light up the whole lawn. When they get to about 50% power in battery power, I just buy them by the, if you call it by the case, but maybe not by the case, but by the 32 or something battery packs, and I buy 3 or 4 packs at a time. And because I have battery operated candles, so but these are, well, I put new batteries in, saying so in half battery power, I just put new batteries in because I love having lots and lots of light. So when they're first batteries in it, they're just in a tremendous, lights up the whole area. So then I can see where my dog is and make sure he doesn't get out. He normally doesn't get out of our yard because it's all fenced in and he doesn't jump. But I still like to know where he is because occasionally a deer or something will get into our yard. And so I don't want him tangled with that or any skunks or anything getting into the yard. So I want to know where he is when we take him out for his night-night. And then I want to close this lid. Okay, great. I was trying to figure out how my wire in the back was supposed to go through. It's supposed to go through the lip and then it won't hang down anymore. But it's not hanging down that much right now. So instead of taking it apart, I could, wouldn't take too long, and then put it through the lip and then put the back piece, which is the back module, and put it back in place. So I could do that. I'm debating whether I want to spend the time to do that. And you see how this rides up a little bit. So what you want is to put this down like that so it doesn't ride up when you put your filament in. And then, so I think what I need to do is, I wanted to figure out where this goes. So I think this goes in the front or in the back. It might go in the front a piece. So I think right here, this gap is supposed to be, if it goes in the front, then it's in this gap. or it could be in the back gap. I'll watch the manual again. Probably put you on pause and watch the manual or look at it. Let's see where the gap is. Okay, so I figured out that. I figured out those. I got those in. It didn't go as easily as they do it. The company. And then, yeah, so it wedges in the very back. So I'll have to turn this around for you. Okay, now, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm putting it down there in the back. So angle the light because it gets different shadows. So it goes somewhere like that. I'm going to push it down. So, and then fill in. So it's not supposed to go all the way across. I guess it fills in between. Those are right here are the hinges. This is the rubber piece, goes between the hinges. So maybe that'll help protect it. Let's see how to put this down. Okay, the snap you heard. I hope I'm not breaking anything that I haven't set on. Okay, so it goes in like that. So that was pretty easy. So you see, I told you a lot of stuff. As you can see, once I got through a few sticking points, it wasn't too overly hard to put it together. And I'm hoping it works as advertised and I don't need to replace anything straight away, and etc., etc. And then I see one of my cables that is hanging down a little bit, but I don't think that's going to make a difference once it's in place. But I have to flip this over. So the final thing is to flip this over before I get my dinner. I thought I was going to go get dinner and then finish this tomorrow. But I did this today. And so all I need to do is, these are the feet. So take the feet out and then see how to put the feet in. So I'm going to put the feet in before I sign off. See how many feet there are. See, this is the control unit. I don't know if there's some controls in here for the filament runout sensor. So this is the control unit for the filament runout sensor for the AMS unit itself, the bamboo. And this goes back, screws into the printer. I'm going to do that at the same time that I turn it on for the first time and make not version 2, but part 2 of the setup guide. But it looks pretty slick and really nice, feels good, solid plastic, but it is all plastic. I hope it works as advertised. That's all I have to say. So let me flip this over. Okay, now let me put you back up so you can see the last tiny bit before I sign off. Okay, now you can see here, see this one was supposed to go let me put my flashlight on. So this one was supposed to go in this groove before I screwed this down. Now, do I want to take the screws out? I guess I might as well take the screws out. So I'm going to take the screws back out, put this inside the groove, and then put the screws back on. And then it'll be nice and tidy and I'll know everything's done. So I wasn't going to do it, Then I said, yeah, what the heck. I hope I don't screw and unscrew too many times. This is only about the third time. So let me do this. And also this part doesn't fall forward as much as the one with the panels. So with the screens. So I might, so I don't have to hold it as much. And then I really need to go and get some dinner. I had breakfast, but coffee, but no lunch. So I almost dropped my grate. But I have to say again, this is a great screwdriver. So they really outdid themselves on the screwdriver. So I don't know what that costs them to put this type screwdriver in every single one, because I bet you could get bits or something for the handle. And I haven't checked it out, as I said, yet, but I bet I could get bits, and then it will be a great screwdriver. So I would even want to buy one on Amazon, because these are nice. Especially if it had this handle, but it was self-powered, would be really nice. So I have to take this off again, and then I'll show you where this goes. So this, see this gap? Because this goes in this part, and I have to angle it to get you to see it. But anyway, this is supposed to wedge down here like this to the bottom. And since this doesn't go more than a couple inch, like a half an inch over the top of here, this is a perfect place for you to hold your cable. So that was kind of ingenious to use a part that the extra space to hold your cable. Okay, so I did that. So now all I have to do is put this back on. Okay, there we go. This isn't sitting flush, but it'll tighten down when I do the screws. And then, so I will put my screws back in. I'm going to put one in here, and then it's always good to put another one over here and to go back and forth. I learned that from putting together 3D printers. The bed slingers that you get half put together, and then you learn that when you're putting the top piece to the bottom piece, to make sure that you screw a little bit on each of the screws. There's usually about 2 on each side, sometimes 4, and main bolts. And do a little bit at a time, and then because you don't want it off kilter. So, but for this isn't so much for being off kilter. This is just for holding it in place. So if you put one screw there and one screw there, you're holding it in place, and then you can screw in all the other screws. Okay, just do it, as I said, not too hard, but snug, but not too hard. Just strip anything. That needed a couple more turns. Okay, now now let's see if I'm going to lay these out and see if I'm putting the feet in the right places. So let's say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8, and there's 4 locations. So that would be, if I did that, that would be 4. And then I'm seeing how I'm supposed to do that. So if there's 8, then maybe they go like this. That one, this one, over where the screw holes, because there's the screw holes there. Right here, these and these. So then maybe I put it like that, and then also look at the instructions, the video again, see if they show, or the instructions. So if I did that, yeah, so there's 8. So 8 would fit like that over the top, and then that would make sense. So let's see what the instructions show. Go back to where it's flipped over. Okay, no, they flipped over. They show I'm looking, but I don't notice. They show just 1. So I don't know if they wedge in here.
EIBOS.
Yeah, let's pause. Okay, now let's see if they go in here. Maybe they just give you extra feet. These are kind of a rubbery material, so with stickum pads on the bottom. That may work like that. So I think that's what it is, but I want to make sure, and then I'll take them out and take off the stickum. This one doesn't seem to lay down, but if that's the way it's supposed to go. And then I put this over here. So if it's supposed to go kind of like that, and over there. So with this one, and then this one, and then, so I'm going to go back a minute. Yeah, it looks like that's how it's supposed to go, like that. So I'm going to take off then the stickum. And push it in here. Okay, that's one. Just have 3 more to go. Okay, that's 2. This will be number 3. And number 4. Felt almost like I had taken it off already. But this is number 4 over here. I'm going to do it from the back. Okay, that seems like the feet. And let me flip it over. So I'm glad I did that little extra work. And then flip it over. Oh, and I'll just let you see. Let me do this. And bring my tripod around. Tip it a little bit. And let you see a little bit closer up. Yeah, a little bit closer up. It's probably on an angle, but a little bit so you can see the wiring and everything, and how neat the wiring is, and how you don't have to take the back cover off in order to get at the wiring or anything like that. So that saves a lot of time. So let me flip it over. So it probably took me a lot longer than maybe some of you to do it. I'll be right back for the closing. This is my end wrap up. There's going to be two parts. One, just a quick talking about the setup and how easy or hard it was, and then showing you a little bit of what I'm talking about in this segment. For somebody that has set this up before, it's a quick and easy setup, and you'll know how to put everything together, so you can go bing, bang, boom, and have it all put together. The bottom, one thing I would add as an extra piece, I would have a bottom tray of sorts that goes throughout if this is the bottom, goes from front to back with the grooves in it for all the wires to sit in, and the pressure fit in. And I think that would be even a neater, and then it can screw into the screw holes that the little feet offset feet go in, if you want to call them feet, or stands that offset the bottom. So I would, as I show you in the next segment when I flip it over again for the wrap up, what I'm talking about with the wires. They're not bad routed as I routed them, but it would be nice if it would all lay out in a plastic simple tray. So that would be a nice little upgrade to make it just that much neater. Now, I'm going to probably show you in the manual when I'm going to take my camera off the tripod, and then I'll be able to move it around better and show you stuff. It was hard to move it into positions, learning how to set it up for the best shots when I was putting this together. So it took me a lot longer putting this together than it would if I was, well, tons and tons longer than it would take me doing it a second time. Second time, I could probably do it in 10 to 20 minutes. And it took me probably, I don't know, 2 hours. I have to look at the video to put it together. I would say the unit I like, but that's not part of this review. I think it's nice and compact. It's screwed all together, so when you lift this up and want to move it, everything's contained. The downside is I think this is a little flimsy and it's tight to move, so you really want to hold it here and move it, and make sure you move it ever so firmly but gently, because this I think you could probably break off. You're probably gonna set it on your printer and then adjust it to the right levels to easily see the display, and then you're probably gonna leave it. So that is probably not a big thing, but because you want it tight enough that it stays in place. Now you could have a little knob that tightens down like on a GoPro accessory, that then you could untighten it, have it come down to the right level, and then retighten it down. And I think that would be another added bonus, opposed to just having this super tight so it stays in place with a screw in here. Everything is plastic. So the other downside is that everything's plastic, so all your screws screw into plastic threads. So if you screw anything in and out too many times, you do have the potential of stripping maybe the threads out. You don't have any brass or metal inserts, which would be another nice upgrade, to have the metal inserts for it to almost finger tight in there. You really need the tool, which is the Allen wrench. So that's most of what I want to talk about in this segment. The downsides, well, another downside is in the manual, it is a little hard in certain steps to understand, and you'll see if you watch the main video of how I paused in about 3 to 4 different sections to try to figure out what I was supposed to do next. Once I figured out what I was supposed to do next, and in one point I even do an aha moment, like an excited aha moment when I figured out what I was supposed to do. What I thought I was supposed to do at the beginning, and I'm just saying it this way because I'm going to show you in the next segment what I mean by that. But these little plates that fit in the front, which are, let me show you what plates. So these plates here in the front, and they're these here on the front, and this, like this and this diagram doesn't really make sense to me. The video was a short video, and here this links to the video, which is nice to have this to link to the video. But what happens is the video, they don't talk on it, and it's very short. So it does help to clarify some of the things in the manual, but together I don't think nice to have the parts list at least to go by. But I think there's a lot of tweaks that they need to make like this. So I thought you would put this piece in and then by itself, and it was supposed to clip a wedge in by itself. I didn't realize that this piece was supposed to clip into here and then slide on. It doesn't say any of that in the manual, so I had to figure that out for myself. And the other hard part was this part, which I'll show you in the next segment. Was hard to know how to go from this part. They show you to put this on, and then in the next segment in the video, they show you to take these parts and place this, which looks like it goes on first. They show in the video placing these pieces, which are, because I have an extra one. So taking this, putting it onto here, and then taking this whole thing and placing it into the printer. So I will show you those segments. I thought that was, they do it one way in the video, and then they show you a two-step process in the manual here. So that's kind of disjointed. And then, but remember, I just wanted to say, remember that this is a pre-production or pre-sale, whatever you want to call it, unit. So it isn't a full sale unit. So my experience is going to be different than the people that got theirs earlier on. And I didn't learn about it until later. So I got it for $179 instead of $159. And I got the three, if you want to call it, heater units or control units. And I do recommend on this point, invest in the extra $30 or so and get all 4 units. Don't get the one that has one over here and one over here. That's so much more limited according to the manual, since I haven't used to the manufacturer, since I read the specs on it, but I haven't used it yet. But I would say invest in the extra, save up if you have to for the extra $30 or $35 over the 2-unit one, because in the end, after you put it together, you're going to appreciate having all 4, even if you don't use it. But I bet you're going to use all 4 of these units. So you could have all 4 of these going, even if they're going at the same temperature rating. You can have like 2 at PLA and 2 at PETG, or you can have 2 at PLA, 1 at PETG, and 1 at maybe for your nylon temperature settings. And so that is a definite recommendation. Just get the 4-unit version. Now this, it shows that I'm supposed to, right, if we look back at here, I'm supposed to open up to the printer. I'm supposed to place, see this step at the bottom. It's the bottom left. So this at the bottom right here. So it's step number 12. So step number 12, it shows, right, that this is supposed to seat over the printer first, of the inside, and then this, and then you go to the next step, and this is supposed to go over the top and set into the grooves on here as 2 separate steps. In the video, they show combining these 2 steps together, this together, and then putting it in the printer. So that's another confusion. And then they show this here, and these are the little frosted rectangular pieces with the groove in it. I assume that's what it is. And that's step 14. And I didn't know how to keep it wedged in. The way I did it was I put this in first, and then I put this in. Now, what's confusing is that they want to maybe do this in a different color. So have this one color and this another color, because what you need to know is to put this in first after you assemble all this, and then you've got to wedge and get it to seat all the way down tight. I show in my video lightly tapping with a rubber mallet to get it all the way tight down. There's another piece that goes in here in this unit, I'm going to show you, which is this little dealie. And that goes in the very back here. And that, how you angle it, so this will seat down without any gaps here. See, there's gaps here, and this isn't seated right in the back, so it's fits correctly. So all that was time wasted that I didn't know how to fit it correctly. So I kept adjusting it. My finger is showing adjusting. And then I finally got it to seat down correctly. But it took a lot of time. And the other thing that really took a lot of time was knowing, once I figured out, the aha moment was this piece and this piece you assemble first. And then you just slip it over the gearing for the filament. And that's like simple as pie once you know to do these pieces first. I tried to fit this in and then figure out, well, I fit this in, and if it wedges in, like one did wedge in because it was a slightly different sizes by maybe an eighth of a millimeter. So it was able to wedge in, so I thought that was how you did it. And then I wondered, well, how do you fit this in here? How is that supposed to work? And the instructions could have made that so much clearer to know that you fit this to this first and then place it over. It doesn't show in here. It shows this and this, but it doesn't show an arrow here or anything showing that this clips to here and then showing the whole unit going down. This arrow shouldn't be pointing this way. The arrow should be pointing this way, where I slide this whole unit. So it shouldn't be showing this way, should be showing this way, where I slide the whole unit just over the top, wedge it in position, and bing bang done. But that's not the way it shows, correct? Right? So that's a thing that I think they should change in the manual to make it for the newbie to put this together. The whole thing wasn't hard to put together if you've done it once. Done it once, I could do it, I'm thinking, in 10 to 20 minutes max. Put it together. I could even, if I had another one, time myself and see how long it takes me to put it together, if it's exactly the same type. Then because knowing it, but trying to figure it out, like they do show this part. So, to their credit, they do show this part, but I think they should show that this clips to this in a diagram. So they show this part, and then they show this part. What? Is this supposed to slide over this part? No, this part is supposed to slide this way, not slide this way. So I think that was a mistake. And they need, I know they're, all the Chinese companies are making mostly high quality products, but are trying to do it as cheaply as possible. But they should have had someone do the review of this manual and make corrections, and then put out the manual or a better even video. The video's not bad, but it's just the standard. If you've seen one Chinese company video, you know what I'm talking about when it's about a 3-minute video and in music, and really doesn't show you how to do a lot of the steps. So it's more of a product video to sell your product. So then they show this, and I don't know, there's no arrows or anything, so I don't know what that's supposed to be showing. Maybe if you took this step and you put an arrow down here and you took this step out, and or replaced it, or you took these steps and combined the two and into one, so you showed how this is supposed to clip to here. That's what you need. So you need to combine a lot of these steps, so it just shows simply that combine this, clip this to this. And if there was wording that says, showing these coming together and saying clip this to this, and then slide this down around the motors of the gear motors of the filament path, then go in and either put these in or combine this with this, and then show it sliding down and slide this over this. You may need to tap it down to seat it in place. Don't overly tap it to break any of the parts, but lightly tap it and wedge it in here. This little groove goes over the back, describing a little bit. And then from here, showing if I did it correctly, and I'm willing to admit if I didn't do it correctly. But if this is in place and then I put this in, I was able to wedge these pretty easily in place. So these in place once this was already in place. Then if they show that in maybe two separate colors, if they wanted to separate the next step from the previous step, put them in, and then show an arrow of this being wedged in here behind here. So they need another arrow here, and then I don't know really what that's supposed to be showing. It's supposed to be showing these, but that doesn't tell me much of hill of beans or what's going on there. So I don't quite get that as well. I would need more explanation. Maybe some of you understand what that means. I don't understand exactly what that means to get it put together. Then they show this with the cover closed, and they show check mark done. So that's good. And then they go on to the interface. So those were the main parts of my gripes with the manual. So now I'm going to go back. Oh, and I really appreciate, though, the detail to again, to have a nice screwdriver Allen bit to just, this is something that no other company that I bought from ever set a nice system in their packaging, and maybe some nice tools came with my printers, but basically this is, for argument's sake, this is the nicest product I've ever had with a that came free. So what I would do, see, this is hollow in here. So I don't know what other bits are supposed to go in here. As I said before, this looks like an Allen key. So then I should be able to take this out and put another bit. So I would even again buy a whole set of Allen screws this long and this quality. It's probably just heavy gauge aluminum, but it has a nice rigid feel to the handle. So I would take a whole set of these and pay maybe $20, $30 for a whole set of these. So I'm going to look online and see if they sell these. So now I'm going to go to the next part of the end review, because I wanted to say all that so they could fix, if they're watching the video, they can fix the manual and the few parts that, like the tray that could hold the cables underneath, because there's a Y cable, and so if there was a tray that would pressure fit the Y part of the cable plus the cables and route them out, and then do that all the way back, and then have that bolted to the bottom as well as the feet. That would be the added thing that I would add to the. Okay, now I wanted to show, so this is the front unit. You can see these are the controls. Remember which way, it's upside down when you turn it over, so make sure you know which way these go in, so when you flip it over you don't have it upside down. So these are where the feet are supposed to be. Whether I would put pads which are all the way across here, so a bigger pad for the feet. I might like that a little bit better. That would be a nice touch upgrade. Now I'm showing that I put this down, so this slides into I can't quite get my camera down there, but there's a little slit here, and then you could slide this cable down, which I did back here, but I forgot that I could do it up here, and I can easily just take the screws out and do it to make it, to change that. But what I was thinking is, if maybe it won't fit, but I was thinking if there was a flat piece that went along here, that all these cables sit in the grooves of a flat piece, if that was possible, then that would be really neat. Neat as in neat, but neat as in nice and organized neat. So I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but it wouldn't be a game changer, deal break for me whether to buy it. But it would be kind of nice, because it would go here, just rest on top, and then if it bolted, it would have to bolt here and then at the bottom, and then the feet would have to, or the extension legs would have to bolt on top of it, and then this, and then screw it down to make it a tiny bit taller. But it might be just a nice added piece to do, just to make it that much nicer or better. So other than that, I think, you see these are the plugs for the data plugs. So other than that, I think that's pretty much my review and my changes I would make. So if they EIBOS watches this video and decides to make any of the changes, that would be great. I don't think it could be, the plate thing piece could be a aftermarket, meaning accessory piece that I could upgrade to if I wanted, and then included with the newer units. But I would change all the things, talking to EIBOS, I would change all the things in the manual for sure to make it easier for a newbie first timer putting this together. This is John for Sleeping Dog Video.